Hey guys, just wanted to show you my 23andMe results. So I want to make this video short, but I participated in a research study with 23andMe called Bipolar and Depression Study. So the reason why I did it is because I think I might be autistic. So it'll be a big surprise to a lot of people me saying that. But I have an appointment for 2018 to see if I really am autistic. So let's just get into the ancestry and show you what I got. So it takes a while for the website to load. So So right here, right off the bat, I got 40.7 Native Americans. I'll go into that. So here's the rest of my percentages. So 44.2 East Asian and Native American. So I can click on all these different regions. It'll show you where my ancestors came from. So Native American is mostly North America and South America. My family comes from here, Central America, the middle part, from a country called El Salvador. Both my mom and my dad's side, both from El Salvador. So then I got Southeast Asian, which is right here, that region. It says located at the south of China, Southeast Asia. It extends from Burma to Indonesia. Modern humans arrived in Southeastern Asia as early as 50,000 years ago, likely using a migration route along the coast of India. Today, Southeastern Asia is comprised of many ethnic groups. So I heard people from here migrated to this little island right here called Madagascar in Africa. So I'll show you how I think it is all connected because I think I might have some Malagasy ancestry. Malagasy is like people of Southeast Asian and East African descent. So I'll show you the connection. But I could also have gotten it from from just ancient Native American DNA, but it's 0.5, so I'm thinking it's Malagasy. So then I also got East Asian 0.4. So I'll click on Yakut. Yakut are Turkic people that live across territories of eastern Russia, originally living around Lake Baikal. Yakuts migrated north along Lena River during the 13th century. Traditionally, Yakuts are hunters, fishermen, and herders. So Turkic people. I actually looked them up. So Mongolian. Yeah, so you can read that. I'm trying not to tire myself out. So Mongolia is situated between China and Russia and is the world's most sparsely populated country. Ethnic Mongols compose more than 95% of Mongolia's population. So my coworker told me it might have been Genghis Khan's people. So I don't know if he directly contributed to my DNA, but it's from his people, him and his people. So 0.1 Korean, mostly composed of mountain ranges. Korea sits south of the Korean peninsula between China and Japan. Korea was unified during the 7th century. Inhabitants of Korea, the Koreans are from a highly homogeneous ethnic group. Oh, that's cool. I was surprised to get the Korean part, but it's only 0.1, so it's still pretty cool though. Then I have a connection with Koreans and Mongolians and Yakuts. That's awesome. So obviously, I don't look East Asian at all because I'm mixed with all different things. So I don't even look Native American, even though it's 40.7. So yeah, you can see on the map where it is. Korea's right there. So yeah, I forgot to show Native American. So it says, yeah, see, Native people of the Americas, North, Central, South America. So Native American ancestry tends to be 5 or more generations back. So that little DNA evidence of this ancestry remains. It's confusing to me what it really means. So let's see. What else didn't I show? Broadly East Asian. So yeah, Eastern Asia encompasses Japan, Korea, China, Mongolia, and the Yakut people of Eastern Russia. The people of northeastern Russia likely arrived using a different later route. Settlers of southeastern Asia eventually crossed to Beringia 12 to 15,000 years ago to become the ancestors of Native Americans. There you go. See? So there's a connection. So technically, Native Americans are East Asians, or Asians in general. We're just distant cousins of each other. So let's get to the European part. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm gonna click on Yaku to show you where it is. Right there, Russia, and some then part of yeah, Siberia, the Mongolian. Right click on that. So let's go to Europe. Yeah, Southern European. So Iberian. So this is what people think I am. When automatically I tell them I speak Spanish, they go like, "Are you Spanish? Are you Mexican?" But yeah, I am, but not Mexican, but Spaniard, because Mexican is just a nationality or a name of a country, Mexico. So there's a whole bunch of different Hispanic countries, like my parents' country, El Salvador, so which is in Central America. So Spain's right there. There it is in Europe. That's where my European side mostly comes from. Then Sardinian, which is 0.1. So Iberian, let me click on Iberian. People of the peninsula of Iberia is represented by the people of Spain and Portugal. Genetically, these people have a deep connection to the rest of Europe, but also have been influenced by the proximity to North Africa. And that's another thing. People think I'm North African, Moroccan. So they've actually confused my cousin for being Moroccan. So that's pretty interesting. Sardinian 0.1. So Sardinia is relatively isolated from the rest of Europe. The island is home to only several bird and reptile species found nowhere else in the world. That's cool. But also people, I wonder what those birds and reptiles are. But also to people who are genetically distinctive, despite occupation by a series of groups from across Europe and the Middle East. So Sardinia is right here, tiny little island of Italy. See, it doesn't let me zoom in anymore, but it's right there. That's pretty cool. So they probably made their way to Spain. Like all these groups are all connected. And broadly Southern European. So they can't really tell what Southern European countries I'm from. So they just put them all together. So I'm guessing it's just Spain. But they're also like, based on what I know, at the top of the head, Romans invaded Spain too, or vice versa. Iberians, because that's what they're called. They're called Iberians. And then the Balkan region right here. This region, I can't see my finger, but the Balkan region is the one next to Italy. To the right of Italy. So that's the Balkan region, like Albania, Macedonia, I think. So other countries. And they look very similar because I've talked to an Albanian guy and he kind of looks like me. So that's pretty interesting. My features come out. The Southern European features. So Ashkenazi Jewish, which I found really cool because there were Jewish people in Spain too, along with other European countries. So Ashkenazi Jews are thought to have settled in Central and Eastern Europe about 1,000 years ago. DNA shows clearly a connection among those who consider themselves to be Ashkenazi Jewish. Ashkenazi Jewish people are likely to be genetic cousins, sharing long stretches of identical DNA. Yeah, so that's true. On my DNA test, I have cousins that are from Lithuania, Poland, England. Like I told you, the Ashkenazi Jewish people were, I think they were kicked out of most of the countries that they were in, so that's unfortunate. And some of them made their way to Spain. So my two last names are actually Sephardic Jewish. So they turned into Sephardic Jewish. I'm not sure what the difference is. I think Sephardic is like North African, but according to this test, it's Ashkenazi. So they don't have any Sephardic Jewish category. So they just put it under Ashkenazi. I think they're the same. Like there's Mizrahi Jewish, Sephardi, and Ashkenazi. But according to the test, it's Ashkenazi. So and it what do you say it? It adds up because I have connections. I have DNA relatives according to the test who are from Poland, Lithuania, Britain, Spain, and they're all mostly Ashkenazi, like 80 to 90% Ashkenazi or 100. So right there. So Ashkenazi. It's only 1.3, but 1.3 is it's a little. It's small, but still 1.3% of my DNA, and that's a lot, I guess. Yeah. Then 1.5 broadly European. They couldn't tell what I was. So in my other test, they said I was a little bit British, a little bit Western European, like French, German. So this one is only 1.5, but there is 9.9% on the sign, like it says right here. So they can't figure out what my DNA is 9%. So broadly European is all this. I also asked Scandinavian too on my other test. So So they can't really determine if it's probably all mutated and they can't tell. So that's what I'm guessing. But right there it says much of Europe was buried under miles of ice thousands of years ago as the glaciers receded over millennia. Neolithic farmers from the Near East joined Paleolithic hunter-gatherers to settle Europe. So it's cool. So yeah, so let's go to the PM. Okay, sorry about that. Uh, Sub-Saharan African. So West Africa, expanding from Senegal to Nigeria. West Africa composes about a fifth of the African continent. West Africans have a long shared history and were united by a large empire such as the Ghana Empire, dating as far back as the 8th century AD. Other empires later succeeded, making Western Africa a region of strong common heritage. So yeah, right here, this is West Africa. So from what I know I'm probably wrong, could be wrong about this. I think Portuguese sold slaves to the Spaniards, so they got them from all these different countries right here in West Africa. So like I said right here, it was Senegal, right? Stretched from Senegal to Nigeria. So on my other test, it said it was Senegal, Africa, Southeastern Bantu, Mali, Ivory Coast, Ghana. So all these countries are right there in West Africa. Well, not Southeastern Bantu. Southeastern Bantu is like the southern part, or the southeastern part, like it says. So that's like I think it's Namibia, Kenya, Botswana, something like that, Zimbabwe. But like I told you earlier, I think the Southeast Asian part might be connected to Madagascar. So that's what I think. Well, the East Africans right there, 0.1, but West African is different. So from what I know, other videos that I've seen on El Salvador, most of those slaves were brought over from the country of Senegal. So I got to do more research. So they say they made their way to the Spaniards brought them over to Guatemala, and then from Guatemala they made their way down to El Salvador and Honduras. So they were brought to other parts of the Americas too, like the United States, Caribbean, South America, but mostly, Salvador, they were Senegalese. So that's pretty cool to know. But I don't know if I look Senegalese or not. So obviously I'm lighter skinned because I looked up Senegalese people and they're a bit more darker than I am. But I think I might have some features from them still. Obviously I also have Middle Eastern features because of my unibrow. But I don't know if that's a Middle Eastern thing. I don't think it is because there's other countries that have unibrows. So like I have like a couple of coworkers that are part Irish and they have a little bit of unibrow, but you can't see it because their hair is lighter. So So unibrow can be anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. So it can be found anywhere. So most people just associate my unibrow with Middle Eastern or my beard. So, but if I pluck it or something, I look completely different. So if I let my hair grow, people think I'm Filipino or Hawaiian or Mexican. Obviously, I'm not Mexican, but it's funny because maybe they're not totally wrong because before El Salvador was El Salvador, it was part of the Mexican Empire, and then it used to be called New Spain before that, and then it was part of like the Mayan and Aztec empires, and then the older civilization called like Toltecs or something, Olmecs. So, and they all have like different tribe names. So, Mayans and Aztecs is like the main groups, and then they have like subcategories. So, yeah, I'll talk about that. Yeah, so the Native American part. I'll go back to the Africa. So I found out that my tribes from Central America, at least one of them, is the Maya Lenca from Eastern El Salvador and Southwestern Honduras. So that's pretty cool to know that I'm part of that tribe. So let's see what I can remember some of it. So Lenca supposedly came from South America 3,000 years ago to Central America, but even before that, they were already in the Americas 17,000 years ago. So they started from Russia, Alaska, that region 17,000 years ago. I'll show you later what I mean because there's a thing called Haplogroups and it tells you the history of my ancestors, at least my maternal side. So this says it went down all the way to Chile, the southern part of Chile, and then they worked their way back up to Central America. So they were already went through North America and Canada, Alaska, but they weren't called Alaska or Canada. It's just names that they were given recently. So what else? I'm losing my train of thought here. Yeah, let me let me just go back to East African. So it says possibly the cradle of modern human civilization. Eastern Africa spans from see Ethiopia, Mozambique, Madagascar. There it is. See, that's the connection with the Southeast Asian part that I talked about before. So so I think I might be connected to Malagasy. So Malagasy people, um, I think some of them I read were in Peru, and that's where I'm trying to make the connection with Peru and Central America, because Lenca supposedly came from that region. I forget what South American countries, probably like Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela. We're all connected because I have relatives from those countries too, so it makes a lot of sense. So, so West Africans probably from Senegal, East Africans probably Malagasy, and then the rest is just other ancestors I have from different parts of Africa. So I don't know what the 4.9%. Maybe that's like maybe just one great grandparent from Africa. So that had all this in them. So it was either he or she. So I don't know if it was a male or a female. So that's the fun part about doing genealogical research. So I'm trying to gather my breath. I talk way too fast when I make videos. I get really nervous. But I'm happy to share this information with you. So let me go Middle Eastern and North African. So this is what people think I am too. North African, I am a little bit. So North African. It says, oh yeah, I forgot to show you the map of Africa. Let me go back to Africa. East African is right there. See, and there's Madagascar. Broadly, Sub-Saharan African is almost the whole continent of the northern part. So go back here. So North Africa. Over the last millennia, Sahara has been a significant geographic barrier for the people of Africa. Although trade routes between northern and southern parts of the continent have long existed, northern Africa has been strongly influenced by people of the Middle East and southern Europe. Yep, that's right there. North Africa. Sorry about that. All right. Middle Eastern, 0.4%. This is mostly people think I am. So the Middle East, represented by the people of Turkey, Iran, and the Caucasus, and the Levant is in, I think Levant, I forgot what Levant is. It's like Mediterranean, I think. So it's a genetically important crossroads in human history. Genetically, the people of this region reflect that role with connections to neighbors in every cultural, linguistic, and geographic direction. So that's the Middle East right there. See? So countries like Yemen, I think Oman, a little bit of Turkey. I think that's what it is. Yeah, right there. See? Caucasus. So, and this is what I'm really upset about, the 9% unassigned. This sucks. I wish they knew more, the rest of my DNA, because 9% is a big chunk that they don't know about me. But in the other test, remember I told you I had Europe West, which is French German, a little bit of Scandinavian, which is 3% on the other test, and 5% Western European, less than 1% British on the other test. So I'm guessing that's what that 9% is, or maybe some of it is Native American too. That they couldn't group it together. So that might be the other reason to do Africa, because I did get higher African on my other test. So, but it was grouped with the North African. Because North African's part of that too. So maybe you add all these up, it's like 7%, right? So yeah. So this is my timeline that they gave me. So before this, I had 16% unassigned. So they put my Native American all the way down here, where West African is, and now they moved it up here for some reason. So, I'm not exactly sure, but it's just telling me the timeline of my ancestors. So it's kind of weird how West African. I guess I was West African first. That's what I'm thinking with this timeline. I'm not sure. So, I'm gonna click on this. It says, trying to catch my breath, talking way too fast. So you most likely had a second great grandparent, third great grandparent, fourth great grandparent, or fifth great grandparent who was 100% Native American. This person was likely born between 1780 and 1870. I think it might have been before that, because it's just, I don't know, the way they interpret my DNA. They're saying that. So you click on all these, pretty much there's almost the same dates. So I highly doubt that. I think it's more ancient than that, you know? So I could be wrong. So it's pretty cool that I have all these. These are all my ancestors. So Mongolian, Sardinian, East African, Ashkenazi Jewish, Korean, which is surprising, North African, West African. So if you mix all these different ethnicities, you get a guy like me. So, which most people think I'm Middle Eastern. So the Middle Eastern part came out strong. But not all Middle Eastern people look like me, because there's different skin tones and stuff like that. So different features. So yeah, this is my chromosome. So it tells you like the different places that my ethnicities are in. So if I click on like Mongolian was interesting because it was nowhere in my first 22, but it was on my X chromosome, which is my mom's side. So my mom's side, she gave me the Mongolian DNA. So it's pretty funny. So they don't test for the Y chromosome, which is my dad's. So that's pretty cool. The Mongolian DNA is on my mom's side. So that's like ancient Native American DNA right there that got passed on to me from her. So let's see what else. Korean. So Korean, you can barely see it. It's right there in the 12th chromosome. Hold this over. See, right there, 12. The Korean's right there. See. So what else can I show you? Ashkenazi Jewish. See. So I'm Jewish. Look at that. See, it's all over, spread out. So Iberian is the biggest one, so it's gonna be a big chunk. See that? It's all over the place. So West African, Sub-Saharan African. Click on the whole thing. There it is. African DNA. So we're all African anyways. Everybody originated out of Africa. So, but I still have the little trace DNA. That's not trace actually. That's a big chunk. Look at that. It's all over there. So then the Middle Eastern. It's on one. It's only on the 16 chromosome. I don't know if it's my mom or my dad. So because they give you two pairs. So I'm thinking my dad, because he looks stereotypically Middle Eastern like me. So let's see. It's a North African. It's right there, spread all over the place. So, but then that's like the genealogy research. You have to figure out where all these. Well, it's mostly probably from the North African, the Jewish. It's all grouped together with the Iberian. So, and it all makes sense. It all ties together. Sub-Saharan, they were the slaves that came over with the Spaniards. You know, it's unfortunate that happened, the slavery thing. So, it sucks. But they're in my DNA now, so that's pretty cool. It's awesome. They lived a hard life, you know. So they survived. So that's why I'm here today, because of them. So it's awesome. All these people right here. So hopefully most of them were good people, you know. And that's all I hope for. So let's see. But yeah, I wanted to show you my haplogroups. Go back here. So haplogroups is I don't know how to explain it. Haplogroups, you get one from your mom's side, your maternal side, and your paternal side from your dad's side. So I'll go back here, home. Alright. Takes a little while to load. So go back to Ancestry. Alright, so here it is, see? Maternal haplogroup D1. That's pretty cool, taking this test. So like I told you, I did the bipolar and depression study, so I did this test for free. So I think they're going to store my DNA for 10 years and analyze it. So see if I have like some genes that connect me to bipolar and depression, or possibly, hopefully for me anyways, in my case, I think I might be autistic. So there's different types of autism. So I have a cousin back in my parents' country, El Salvador. He has Down syndrome. So I don't have Down syndrome, but because you can't see it in my face. Because Down syndrome, you can tell. if someone has it by their facial features or their height and everything like that. So I think I might have it could be, they call it autism spectrum disorder now. So there's one called Asperger syndrome. Um, there's one called pervasive developmental disorder. The other one, child disintegrative disorder. So there's a whole bunch of different autistic disorders, and I hate calling them disorders because I talked with an autism specialist and she told me that being autistic is not a bad thing. It just means you're different. You know, you have a different brain. So I'm 28, but my brain operates like a little kid. So like I won't clean my room. I'll play video games all day. I'll eat junk food. But that's not a stereotypical thing for autistic people. It's just like every autistic person is different. It's just my behaviors are like that, like a little kid. So so yeah, I'll do stuff like that, like little kid stuff. So I'm not like your normal, you know, because there is no normal person. So there, I just give you a little information on autism, like I had all these odd behaviors when I was younger. Odd. See, I don't want to say odd either because the autism specialist says don't say odd. Just your brain is just different. I'm also left-handed, so I don't know if there's a connection between autism and being left-handed. My mom's also left-handed, so well, let's just get to the haplogroups. So I said I was gonna make the video short, but I'm like rambling now. So right here, see, everybody originates out of Africa. So they moved from, see the L, that's the original one, the L haplogroup. So all maternal haplogroups descend from that haplogroup L. So it turned into L3, then it turned into M, and then it turned into D, which went over to the Americas. See that? But it wasn't called the Americas before. I don't know what they called it. So it tells you right here. I don't know if I'm going to read all that. But yeah, see? So D1 is a branch of the D4 haplogroup, which likely arose in East Asia as a subgroup of people that migrated north to Japan, Korea, and northern China. So I looked up a little research online, and there's a group of people in Japan, ancient people in Japan. I don't know if they still exist today. Probably do. And some Japanese people, they were called the Jomon people. It was a ethnic group in Japan, and they kind of looked like me. Like they had facial hair because mostly Asian people are not known for facial hair, but you see a lot of Japanese with like facial hair, and that's because probably from the Jomon people. So Jomon, Jomon, they have the same haplogroup as me. I looked up. So I know everything on the internet is not true, but that was pretty cool to know that D1 arose from that region, like it says right there. See, people migrated north to Japan, Korea, northern China. So I didn't get Japanese on my 23andMe results, but I got Korean. But there's another website that I uploaded, Weegene, that actually showed my Japanese, and then I uploaded my ancestry results to MyHeritage, and it said I'm 2.4% Japanese, so it makes sense. So pretty cool. So let's see. So 17,000 years ago. See. So I click on this. See, L3 turned into L3. See, it was in the Arabian Peninsula. Then click on. See, 50,000 years ago. Beyond Africa, your maternal line can be traced through haplogroup M. M is one of the two branches that split off from L3 soon after humans first expanded out of Africa. Over the 50,000 years since the branches rise, members of the haplogroup M have ventured far and wide in southern and eastern Asia, where many diverse branches split off. So there you go. 40,000 years ago. Let's see. So I'll tell you the story, how they migrated. Right there. Through the Ice Age, it was beginning to retreat. When your D1 ancestors first entered North America, there were still massive barriers blocking their way. I don't know why it's like overlapped. Huh. Glaciers inhospitable covered much of the continent, blocking entry into the interior. Nonetheless, researchers have found evidence that a wave of American founders migrated over 13,000 kilometers to reach southern Chile in only about 2,000 years. A blink of an eye in the history of human migration. Their highway, so they migrated really quick all the way down to Chile from the Siberian. What is it? Yeah, the Siberian Strait, I think it's called, or something, or Beringia Strait, something like that. It was an ice sheet, so you guys probably know about that already. There were mammoths and saber cats, saber-tooth tigers. So their highway to the south coast of the Pacific was stocked with fish, diverse marine mammals, and other valuable resources in the rich kelp forests in the upper latitudes and the abundant freshwater rivers near the equator. Because of this rapid movement south, the D1 haplogroup and its diverse branches are found through North and South America. And it makes sense because I have relatives from South America, Peru and stuff, and Colombia. So, and also that's where I think I make the connection with Malagasy, the East African and the Southeast Asian. So, so I have Asian DNA from different migrations. So you can connect it all together. So that's my maternal haplogroup. So it says they were in Canyon Beach, Oregon, like 17,000 years ago. So, so my mom, that's crazy. So my mom, I'm first generation Salvadoran. So that's pretty cool that our family was already here anyway. So I probably shouldn't call myself first generation because my ancestors were already here. They just migrated all over the Americas before European contact. So this is what this is telling you. So I'm pretty proud, to say that my ancestors were here at least 17,000 years ago. So, and some of the remains that archaeologists find in the Americas, I'm linked to them. So it's pretty awesome. So now let me go to my paternal haplogroup. So my dad's side. So most people from the Americas, they're gonna get well, if I think it's like if you're like half Native American, you're gonna get a European haplogroup. Bigger chances of getting a European haplogroup. Then I did get one. See, it's from my dad. I got RP311. See, and they originate out of East Africa too. So, see, so it's called haplogroup A. So they went from East Africa to the Arabian Peninsula and then Central Asia. See, RM207. But some of them diverted. Whoa, that was loud. It's kids. My mom's babysitting kids. And they're making a lot of noise. Sorry about that. They scared the hell out of me too. So yeah, they went over to Europe, to Spain. See, you can see the arrow going over there. And some of them went to Central Asia. See, and they didn't go to the Americas, I think, because they just stayed in this region right there. So they have that haplogroup called RM207. I think it's like that. I don't know. So click on this. See, well, more than 100,000 years, your paternal line ancestors gradually moved north, following available prey and resources as shifting climate made new routes hospitable and sealed off others. Then around 60,000 years ago, a small group ventured across the Red Sea and deeper into Southwest Asia. Your ancestors were among these men. That's cool. And the next step in their history is marked by the rise of haplogroup M, FM89 in the Arabian Peninsula. So that's why I look like stereotypical Arab, I think is the right term. I don't know. I could be wrong. So, because some of my ancestors from Europe were from there thousands of years ago, 76,000 years ago. So, click on that. It's kind of funny, right? Because depending on what country your family comes from, they're always like, oh, I'm this and that. I'm not from anywhere else. I'm just Salvadoran. I'm just Mexican. I'm just Guatemalan. I'm just Canadian. But they don't realize that we come from different ethnic groups, migrations from thousands of years ago. So it just happens that my family recently just came from El Salvador. So, and I'm now here in the United States. So right here, 53,000 years ago, in the Middle East, origin, Western steppes, nearly 50,000 years ago, spread across most of the globe. In fact, nearly half of paternal lineages of South Africa are branches of haplogroup K. Oh wow, it's a lot. So an RM207, 35,000 years ago. So next step in your history can be to a common ancestor of haplogroup R, a man who likely lived in Central Asia between 30,000 and 35,000 years ago. So that's like Central Asia, I think it's like Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, countries like that. So they hunted huge mammals like the mammoth. Imagine that. Some of my ancestors and everybody else's ancestors did the same thing, not just mine. So they hunted big, huge mammals like that. That's crazy. People had it rough back then. So then it turned into RM343. So right here I see a forks right or a fork left. My ancestors decided to fork to the left, to go to Europe. So Western Europe, see, Eastern Europe. Then some of them went to England, and some of them went to Spain. Mine went to Spain. So there you go. So then that haplogroup turned into RM269. See, right there, there's a lot to read. Yeah, see, 5,000 years ago. Yeah, so here's the thing right here. See, the men from steppes also outcompeted the local men. I'm assuming that was one of my ancestors too. They outcompeted other men as they went. Their success is demonstrated in the overwhelming dominance of the RM269 lineage in Europe. Over 80% of men in Ireland and Wales carry the haplogroup. So 80% of Irish and Welshmen carry the haplogroup that I have, as do over 60% of men along the Atlantic coast from Spain to France. That's me. That's my ancestors. 60% of them have the same haplogroup. Then the frequency RM269 gradually decreases to the east, falling about 30% in Germany and 20% Poland. So I'm definitely not going to have like a lot of German or Polish, so it's in the 60%. So Spain and France makes a lot of sense. So I do a lot of research, and the same haplogroup that I have, a lot of people from like Spain have it, Portugal. There's a country called the Basque country, which is in between France and Spain. So Basque country, and they don't speak Spanish. They speak a different language. So Spain has a lot of different languages too, not just Spanish. They have like Castilian. I think they might have Gaelic. There's the northern part of Spain. So a lot of people invaded each other. So like the Celtics and the Iberians, and then Romans, and just name all the tribes like Visigoth, Germanic, all these different tribes. Sorry about the noise outside. So there's a lot of TV noise going on too. So yeah, all those tribes that I mentioned, and I'm assuming like any other tribe in the world, they have subgroups. So just like Native American tribes, African tribes, European tribes, Asian tribes, they all have subgroups. So let's see. So like I told you, I'm probably related to Jomon, which is a tribe was a tribe. I don't know if they are extinct or not. They're probably in the DNA of a lot of Japanese people. So your paternal haplogroup turned into RP311 10,000 years ago. That's nearly 400 generations ago. So 10,000 years ago, my ancestors. Let's see. New details may be added to your story. Hopefully they do that. So it says they're relatively common. 1 in 35 customers RP311. So this was the part that was like, wow, really? Like, I'm connected to Nyla and the 9 hostages. So the spread of haplogroup RM269 in Northern Ireland and Scotland was likely aided by men like Nyla and the 9 hostages, perhaps more myth than man. Nyla and the 9 hostages, said to have been a king of Tara in northwestern Ireland in the late 4th century CE. So I don't know what CE means. His name comes out as a tale of nine hostages that he held from the regions that he ruled over. All right. Though the legendary stories of his life may have been invented hundreds of years later, he died. Genetic evidence suggests that Uí Nile dynasty, whose name means descendants of Nile, did in fact trace back to just one man who bore a branch of the haplogroup RM269. So Uí Nile actually means O'Neill now in Ireland. So it's pretty cool. So I'm not ethnically Irish, but like I told you, there were Celtics in Spain, so they were called Celti Iberians or something like that. They mixed with each other, but I don't have any Irish DNA because my ancestors didn't come directly from Ireland, because Ireland was frozen, so they stayed in like Western and Southern Europe, which is in Spain, and then they moved up. Some of them moved up to Ireland, so that's why it links me up with them, because I have the same haplogroup as them. Doesn't mean I'm Irish, but we have the same ancestors. So it says the Uí Nile ruled to various degrees as kings of Ireland from 7th to 11th century in the high patriarchal society in medieval Ireland. Their status allowed them to outsize numbers of children and spread their paternal lineage each generation. In fact, researchers have estimated that between 2 and 3 million men with roots in Northwest Ireland paternal line descendants of Nile. So that's pretty cool. So that's why I think I might have some ancestors from northern Spain, because it connects me to Irish and Scottish men, and Welsh, I think. Yeah, probably British men have it too. Scandinavians, you know. So yeah, it's pretty cool that I'm tied to them. See, 10,000 years ago, the Weiniel dynasty. So yeah, I think this is pretty much it. So I said I was gonna make the video short, but I ended up making it like really long, probably like 20 minutes or something, or more than that. So let's see. So thank you guys for watching. Glad I was able to share the results with you. All right, take care.